All right, family, welcome to the fourth show. If you're new here, my name is Ryan, and I am the owner of Real Designs Media. We are a video production company that specializes in events and corporate interviews. And today we are going to kind of round out the last several episodes and talk about visual storytelling techniques, the mastery of it as a whole. This isn't going to be a master class or anything like that. It's more so going to be a series of stories that kind of explain my personal experiences in business. It's going to explain my personal experiences in business, and hopefully you can get some value out of this. That is the plan. The agenda on this particular episode, we're gonna talk a little bit about the foundations of filming. Now, everybody knows how to create, great content at this point, but there's some things that can help you get stuff done more effectively and efficiently, which makes you more money. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about lighting and exposure, just a high level overview. I want to talk about using technology to your benefit, and then we'll talk about things that like staying ready, being ready for quick opportunities and spontaneity. I'll tell you a couple stories about that, legal stuff, contracts, and then we'll wrap everything up. So the first thing is the foundations of filming, and there are so many styles. My shooting style, my filmmaking style is just a hodgepodge of a bunch of other styles that I studied on YouTube. When I first got started in video production, I was trying to make some stuff look like Hollywood, like super duper cinematic. Nowadays, I'm still trying to make it look cinematic. Not gonna lie to you, but I do it more efficiently and effectively than I did. And in fact, I own way more equipment than I need to own, because in order to film for myself, like, I own way more equipment than I need. Right now I've got 5 lights that I can fully control, and it helps me get this look. I tend to stay more towards a natural look, and I prefer to just clean the area, light the subject properly, and then go forth and conquer. That's kind of like my style. So when it comes to doing heavy cinematography and DP stuff, I'm still learning that, but that's not super important for what I do for work. What I do for work requires mid-level DP skills, stuff like that. We create some dope looking stuff, but it's not anything crazy. One thing that I learned as I progressed through filmmaking is that what I care about, my client often did not care about. For example, when I made my first recap video, I was stuck. I shot the event. The whole next day, I didn't do anything. Like, I was trying to figure out what to do for the highlight video, but I didn't know what to make, because I didn't know what the client was gonna like, and I got stuck. I just got stuck in that area where it just feels like whatever I make, they gonna hate it. I remember my mentor, Brandon, hitting me up and saying like, yo, bro, you did that recap yet? You done with it yet? Make sure you get it to him next day. And it was already the next day. And I remember him telling me, like, man, I'm kind of stuck on it, bro. Not gonna lie to you. And he told me this. He said, Ryan, all you need to do is put some testimonials on there, throw some B-roll over it, put it to some dope music. They gonna love it. I put some testimonials on there. I threw some B-roll over it, put it to some great music, and they loved it. They sent back fire emojis, and they texted me like fire emojis or whatever. And I was shocked because even though that's what I made, it still wasn't fire to me. As a filmmaker, it was way mid. It wasn't good. And that was an early moment in my career that I didn't even realize it then, but that was an early moment in my career where the facts showed that the client thinks it's like what they think is dope is totally different from what we think is dope. What we think is dope is 12 different shots of the empty space, but with like cinematic accuracy, and the shots are super smooth like butter, just dollying in on the stage. And that stuff does not matter to someone who's trying to make a ad or make a video to use to promote an event, because what's going to attract people is whatever that client uses to attract people, whether it be they're going to help people change their lives, or whether they're going to help people grow their business, or whether they're going to help people make money. If they've got 14 really, really dope shots, all that says to the end user is that event looked really good. But what's going to entice them to come? So they want to see stuff like people smiling, having a good time, learning, crying. They want to see emotion, and they want to hear people talking about what kind of an impact it had for them. They also want to hear about people. They actually want to hear firsthand what happened on stage. So those are one of the things that I think about when it comes to making content for other people who are not in the industry or creative. And it all fundamentally goes back to this statement right here. It fundamentally goes back to this statement. Story first, then visuals. You want to have a story there, and then you want to add visuals that help tell the story. Now, the better you can make them look and they not take away from the story, the better. But the story is more important. And usually someone telling the story or narrating the story, which is how we use our testimonials and our speakers on stage, we just tell the story audibly, and then we add B-roll to support it. Other option would be to, if there is no audio and you're just using visuals and music, then those visuals have to feel like a story. And the best way to do that is chronologically, but we'll talk about that another day. So we'll talk about we'll talk about that another day when it comes to like structure of highlight videos and stuff like that. We'll also talk about the shooting of it when it comes to planning certain shot lists and stuff like that. We can talk about that another time. I want to transition over to the next thing, which is lighting and exposure, it starts at the camera, but it doesn't stop there. In post-production, you have control over lighting and exposure, but ideally you want to make sure that whatever you do in post is enhancing whatever you got on camera, not fixing it. So that's a key thing to remember. We just started using monitors when we shoot, and if we can shoot without a monitor, we will continue to. But we did just start using monitors. So I've owned a Ninja 5 since they came out, like back in the day. just sitting collecting dust, and then all of a sudden they came with this module that you could add to it to upload footage remotely. Okay, so one thing that's great about that is it improves our ability to get content to our editing team quickly. And one thing that stands out about our company is that our turnaround time is lightning fast, allegedly. Now, another thing, couple things that I appreciate about the Ninja 5 monitor, and other monitors have this too, but another thing that I enjoy about the Ninja 5 is that it has false color, which is a way to help you to easily see what's bright and what's not in your image. It gives you a color code so that you can easily see if this face is well exposed, or if it's underexposed, or if it's overexposed. And that's very, very valuable. Very valuable. 1 second. Hold on. I need to verify something. Okay, we good. So false color allows me to quickly adjust exposure. I can put the camera on the tripod, turn it on, light the space, and then I can tell instantly if that person's face is too bright. Or I could tell instantly if we're not going to be able to see these shadows over here. And that is amazing. Okay, so that's one key thing that's very important about the monitor. And then the other thing, which people talk about a lot, but I felt like it was overrated until I started using the monitor more, is the bigger screen is much better than the screen that comes on your camera. Also, the monitor screen may be more accurate depending on the monitor. The color might be more accurate, which is important if you're kind of shooting and eyeballing it. If you're looking at the white balance on the screen and it just doesn't look good, it's like, okay, let me change it a little bit. So those are two major things that are really dope about having a monitor. Now, the Ninja 5 is a recorder. It also has extra things that you can add to it, such as the wireless attachment that's like $99. They charge for everything, by the way, Atomos. But the attachment allows you to upload footage remotely, which we do a lot of because we've got editors, and being able to upload footage remotely is super duper advantageous for us, because during the conference we'll be able to send footage to the team to edit while the conference is going on. And that's amazing. That is so amazing. All right, so that is that. And another thing that has something to do with lighting and exposure is if you have like a camera if you got a recently made camera, you should have zebras on it. Zebras are like the little lines that show up whenever you'd have to enable it on the camera. I only know how to do it on Sony, but what the zebras do, they are similar to false color, except they don't show you all of the shades. They just use a pattern, and you're able to adjust the settings in the camera to where you can tell it whenever the exposure gets to this level, shows zebra stripes. And that's what it does. If you set it to 80%, anything that's at like 80 IRE or 80%, I don't really know, honestly, but anything that's at that number is gonna have zebras. Now, how do I use this? I set my zebras to I've got two zebras on my Sony. I've got one set to 41%, and I've got one set to 90%. The one that's set to 41%, that helps me to make sure that whatever skin I'm exposing for, it's exposed gracefully. It might not be perfectly exposed, but it's gonna be soft. I'll be able to do something with it. That's how I manage to always have I rarely mess up skin, and it's just from using the zebras at 41%. Now, is that the number that I should use them at? I don't know. I found a dude on YouTube. He uses it. Now, I use it for S-Log3 and for S-Cinetone for my Sony users, but that really helps me nail it on a person. But if I'm not recording a person or shooting a person, I'm gonna go to the Satin Zebra, which is at 90%. And that's gonna make sure that I'm not clipping any highlights. Which in turn, for those of you who aren't familiar with the concept, you don't want to clip highlights, because then it makes whatever you shoot look like it was cheaply shot. Your production value goes down. Production value meaning how expensive it looks when you shot it. So, for example, that's one of the reasons why I've got this light bulb turned down super low, and then I've got that one super low, because I want it to look expensive, even though it didn't cost that much to set up this. So anyway, now the next thing I want to talk about is using technology around you. And I'm going to speak for myself when I say that I have a not so great habit of buying software, buying technology and tools when I haven't yet determined how I'm going to integrate it into my current workflow. But it inspires me so that I'm willing to force it into my workflow. And so that's what I've done with a lot of things. One of the things that I've done that with is an app that is called Sunseeker. I use Sunseeker to like track the sun outside whenever I'm shooting something, but I don't do a whole lot of narrative work. A lot of our work is done indoors. Sometimes we shoot indoors where there's a lot of windows, or when we're doing testimonials, I want to make sure that I like to use natural light or use it to help motivate other lights that I bring, but it does matter where the sun's going to be and stuff like that. But I probably use that app 3-4 times a year total. A piece of technology that I've recently started using that helps me a ton has actually been the camera to cloud software that is connected to Frame.io. Now, Frame.io is a software that I use to send videos to clients so they can check them, and they can add timestamp comments and everything. But recently we've been kind of using it in place of Google Drive, because it just feels less. Frame is made for video stuff. Google Drive just kind of feels like Google Drive. And we're pressing against the wall, trying to lower our space that we're taking up in there too. That's another thing. But that's something that we definitely use in our software stack. We use Frame.io. We use DaVinci Resolve as well. We switched over from Premiere. DaVinci I don't even like Premiere. I use Final Cut, but I switched over to DaVinci as well because of the cloud computing, the collaborative editing abilities. So essentially, I'm able to work on the same project with my editing team. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't work well at all. But that's something that we use currently. We use ChatGPT a whole lot in our business. So one of the things that we use ChatGPT for is to make our content better. Right now we are posting content. Some of it's doing poorly. Some of it's doing poor. Some of it's doing like decent. And then every once in a while we have something that, pops relative to what we've been doing in general. And I've got this thread in ChatGPT it's a marketing thread for my company. And we know our messaging. We've developed our messaging, which is for those of you that aren't familiar with like messaging for a business. The messaging for your business is super duper important because it is literally how you're going to talk to the client. And it's a living thing. So you're not going to do your messaging and then it's done forever, because ideally you would continue to learn more about your clients. And as you learn more about them or learn more about your ideal client, you'll change some things, because at first you might think that, oh man, our client is tired of working with people who aren't good. But later you find out, no, they're not really. It's not that they are tired of working with people that aren't good. They're working with people that are really good, but they have to tell those people every little thing to do, because those people don't own the vision like the client does. So they're tired of owning the vision and doing the work themselves. So that's an example of like messaging, because you're gonna talk to them differently now, instead of saying like, yeah, I know how it feels to just work with a bad team. Like, well, that don't apply to me. But when you say, well, listen, I know how it feels to like come up with the vision and have to execute it, now you're gonna get some amens, because you understand like if that fits who your person is that you're dealing with. And that's a part of our messaging. So anyway, we put the messaging into ChatGPT. We put everything else into ChatGPT that we could, like content that did well. We will transcribe that content and then feed it into ChatGPT and ask it, hey, give us 10 variations of this transcript. Give us the before and after steps. Like, we'll have it give us things that will help us to iterate on the content that we're making. Stuff that we could think of ourselves, but it's just faster to brainstorm with a bot, obviously. Now, the other thing that it does though is it seasons that thread. So the older the thread, the more information that it receives. Ideally, comprehensively, it starts to see the marketing like you see it. And so we feed it stuff that we want to implement, and we also feed it things that we want to change. I might write a caption. I just write how I feel, or record how I feel, and then upload it to ChatGPT and say, hey, this is what I want the caption to say, but put it in our company's tone and put it in our company's, energy, and give us something that's down to earth, meaningful, thoughtful, because that's how we write. That's how we communicate in the business. So that's how we have been using ChatGPT. We also use ChatGPT to update stuff. So like we already have contracts that are approved by our attorney. So we want to update to the contract, we'll put it in there and we'll say, hey, we want to add this to the contract, add that to the contract, send it back to the attorney to get it approved. Stuff like that. What else? Speaking of contracts, let's talk about contracts real quickly. Okay. When I first got started, I copied a contract from a course that I took. I copied their contract word for word, and I just rocked with that contract. And one of the things that I heard at an event that I shot was, you always need to continuously update your contract after every job. I ain't listen to that. I did not listen to that at all. And the reason was, like, I'm trying to get it. Like, I am a young business. I'm trying to hit six figures that first year. Okay. I wasn't thinking about dotting my I's and crossing my T's when it came to the legal stuff at the time. So when it came to making sure that any issues that I ran into during the event and stuff like that, or working with a client, any things that I ran into, I would just try to figure out a way to navigate that next time. I wouldn't update a contract. What I soon found out is that the contract, and here's the other thing, I didn't really even, for a certain dollar amount, I didn't even feel like a contract was necessary, because most of the people I was working with were people that, like, I liked. They were cool. Everything was dope. So I'm just like, it don't matter. Well, it matters, because the contract is the only thing that people remember when they are under pressure. Okay? If you get booked for a job and they pay a deposit and y'all get ready to fly out there, you buy your ticket, you get ready to go, you're renting equipment, doing whatever you got to do to get ready to prep to go, and something happens where the budget isn't there anymore. All of a sudden, this has happened before. Like, something happens, there's a falling out between two people, or they decide they're not gonna have it anymore, or ticket sales don't work out the way that they should, and they want to change some things about the contract, or they want to do some things. It's like, they're gonna revert back to the contract to find out what they can legally do. Most people would. It's business. So because of that, you want to make sure that your contract gets updated on a regular basis. You want to make sure that it's ironclad. You just want to do that. So keep that in mind, because there's some really iffy things that can happen if you are not doing contracts. Okay. Another thing is insurance. You need insurance and on your equipment, and you need insurance on, like, you need insurance to cover people that are going to be moving in and about and around your equipment, because someone tries to sue you, you don't want that coming out of your money. So make sure that all of those things are in place. Now, as far as insurance companies go, for equipment, I use Athos Insurance. They should probably sponsor this. Matter of fact, I'm gonna hit them up. But I use Athos, and then for and they're reasonable. And then I use Next, NEXT, for insurance for just general liability insurance. So those are all of the things. They're actually 9. We got 2 more sections to go over. The next section is gonna be preparing for a shoot last minute. Like, somebody hits you up last minute and they wanna shoot. If someone hits you up and they want to shoot last minute, you may be tempted to take that job. And you should take that job if you are ready to take that job. In Atlanta, so much stuff goes on in Atlanta. Don't be surprised if someone hits you up the same day. And one of my favorite clients, that's how we met. She contacted me. She didn't know who I was. One of my mentors connected us, but she contacted me. She needed me to show up to her event because the videographer had canceled on her for some odd reason. Like, I already had cards, batteries, cameras, everything was like charged up and stuff. I just put everything in the Pelican case, went up there. It was about an hour away, and we killed it. It was a really dope event, and that started a business relationship between us that's still going on to this day. And that was one of the best things that had happened to my business last year. However, there has been another time where I got a call and I wanted to get that money, so I kind of rushed and did the job, and the results were there, but I was super duper stressed, very, very stressed during the whole shoot. I had some things that I had forgotten, so I had to like call and pay someone to try and grab it for me. I just wasn't prepared like I needed to have been prepared to be able to like have peace of mind and just do my thing and flow. And you'll be surprised at how much stress and drainage not being all the way prepared or not having everything you need can make you. I mean, it's the difference between you having to sleep in a little bit the next day to recover, and you just spending 2-3 days recovering. Like, no lie. It's such a mental drain in the job, doing videography. You holding cameras, you're moving stuff, you're active. So like physically, it's gonna be a workout. You don't want it to be a mental workout as well. So being prepared is super duper important. And I'm talking about with all the things. Like, I talked about this last episode, but if you only have 2 memory cards, like 2 SD cards, you need more. Like, you need 5-6 SD cards minimum. You need to keep them in a case. You need to keep them in rotation. I would even say, like, just buy a new set of SD cards. Like, every time you get ready to do a big job, just buy the SD cards you need. Because I know that y'all are dumping cards at the last minute to try to like clear them so you can, go, because I do it, you know what I mean? So now it's just like, I'm just buying some new cards. I'm not dealing with, the other stuff. That's one of the biggest things. That's one of the biggest things that I would say is very important, is to make sure that you have everything that you need, that you're prepared. So that means you need more than 2 batteries. You need 4 batteries per camera. You need 2 battery chargers that can charge multiple batteries at the same time. You need fast chargers. You need all of these things are going to be the difference between you being able to pull up at a place, plug in batteries, and have a battery almost fully charged by the time you need to change them out, versus you only having 1 battery charger. You got 2 batteries, one's at 28% and the other one's all the way dead. And you're trying to find an outlet to charge on. It's like, nope, get a portable charger. All of these little things, they cost money, but it's so important to have them, because that's what's gonna get you through the shoot, not your camera. Not your camera, not your, nope, none is gonna get you through the shoot like having this other stuff will. So I ain't gonna continue to beat that horse. The last thing that I would say, and this is very important when shooting, is gathering testimonials. You want to get testimonials from your client every time you shoot. I try to now. So I wasn't doing it for a while. I would get one testimonial if we worked one time. The rest of the times I wouldn't get one. But now when I work with a client, every other time or every 3 times we work together, if we work on a regular basis, I'm getting a testimonial from them. Those testimonials work, y'all. They work. So that's it. I kind of went through a lot, and we didn't specifically talk about the artistic or creative side of visual storytelling, but this is like the technical side of visual storytelling that we went over today. So I hope you got something from that. Hope it was helpful. Hope y'all know I love y'all. And we went 37 minutes today. Let's get it. Talk to y'all later. Peace.